Listen closely. This message is not for everybody. Most people never realize how much their own thinking is keeping them poor, distracted, and dependent. They believe their biggest enemy is the economy, their background, their relationships, their job, or their circumstances. But the real enemy is their lack of control over their own mind. A man who cannot control his thinking cannot control his actions. And a man who cannot control his actions cannot control his future. Every weakness begins in the mind first. Doubt, fear, laziness, excuses, overthinking, procrastination, all of it lives there before it ever shows up in your life. Strong men learn to discipline their mind before they try to discipline their bank account. They learn to observe their thoughts instead of obeying them. They learn to question their impulses instead of following them. They learn to delay pleasure instead of chasing it. This is real self-mastery. Most men are addicted to comfort, comfortable routines, comfortable habits, comfortable relationships, comfortable excuses. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it destroys you slowly. It makes you soft. It makes you passive. It makes you dependent. It makes you afraid of challenge. That is why so many men avoid pressure. They avoid competition. They avoid responsibility. They avoid leadership. Because leadership exposes weakness. Pressure reveals character. Competition shows who prepared and who didn't. A disciplined man welcomes pressure. He sees it as proof that he is moving forward. He sees it as training. Weak men see pressure as punishment. They complain. They panic. They quit. The difference is preparation. Preparation creates confidence. Confidence creates calm. Calm creates control. And control creates power. A man who controls himself cannot be easily controlled by others. He cannot be bribed with pleasure. He cannot be manipulated with emotion. He cannot be distracted with noise. He cannot be broken by setbacks. He adapts. He adjusts. He continues. Machiavellian awareness teaches you that most systems reward those who understand them. Money systems, social systems, work systems, media systems. The winners are not always the smartest. They are the most informed. They study quietly. While others are entertained, they are educating themselves. While others argue online, they are building skills. While others chase attention, they are stacking resources. Knowledge is leverage. Information is leverage. Patience is leverage. Most men trade their leverage for comfort. They overshare. They complain publicly. They reveal their plans. They expose their fears. And then they wonder why people don't respect them. Privacy is power. Mystery is power. Silence is power. You do not need to explain your grind. Build first. Talk later. Results speak. The Stoic understands that life will test you through loss, betrayal, failure, and disappointment. These moments are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to sharpen you. You can become wiser or weaker, focused or distracted, powerful or passive. That choice is yours every day, with your habits, with your discipline, with your standards, with your mindset. Real confidence comes from knowing you did the work when nobody watched. If you want respect, become disciplined. If you want freedom, become focused. If you want power, master yourself. This is Daily Scrill Quotes. I'm Scrill Hassan. Stay sharp, stay strategic, stay disciplined. Most people never learn how money actually moves. They think wealth comes from working harder, staying loyal, or waiting their turn. That mindset keeps them trapped. Money flows towards strategy, not sympathy, toward positioning, not effort, toward leverage, not loyalty. A man who does not understand this will spend his life working inside systems he never controls. He will trade time for wages, energy for approval, obedience for security, and then wonder why he never feels free. Wealth is built by men who study incentives, who understand why people buy, why they invest, why they follow, why they comply. Every transaction is emotional before it is logical. Every deal is psychological before it is financial. If you understand human desire, you understand markets. People move for status, security, and belonging. Everything they buy, support, or promote connects to one of those three. The man who understands this can influence demand without force. He can position himself as valuable without begging. He can create opportunity instead of waiting for it. Most men sabotage themselves by being too transparent. They reveal desperation. They reveal uncertainty. They reveal need. And need repels power. Stability attracts it. When people see that you are calm, consistent, and controlled, they assume you are valuable. They assume you are connected. They assume you have options. Options create leverage. Leverage creates income. Income creates independence. That is the chain. That is the system. Emotional men break the chain. Strategic men strengthen it. They never rush deals. They never chase validation. They never panic under pressure. They wait. They observe. They calculate. Then they move. That patience separates workers from owners, consumers from creators, followers from leaders. If you want money, learn psychology. If you want freedom, learn positioning. If you want power, learn restraint. This is not manipulation. This is mastery. Most men never realize how predictable they are. Their emotions follow patterns. Their reactions follow habits. Their decisions follow impulses. Anyone who studies them long enough can control them. That is why emotional men are easy to manipulate. They can be triggered with words, rushed with fear, distracted with pleasure, flattered with praise, pressured with scarcity. A man who has not mastered himself will always be mastered by something else. By money, by women, by validation, by addiction, by status, by comfort. Self-control is not about denial. It is about direction. It is about choosing long-term strength over short-term relief. Most men choose relief. They escape into entertainment. They escape into scrolling. They escape into complaining. They escape into excuses. And while they are escaping, disciplined men are building. Stoic philosophy teaches that you cannot control events, but you can control responses. That is where power lives. When you do not react emotionally, people cannot read you. When people cannot read you, they cannot manipulate you. When they cannot manipulate you, you become dangerous in calmness. A calm man in chaos has authority. A patient man in pressure has advantage. A silent man in negotiations has leverage. Silence forces others to reveal themselves. Talking exposes weakness. Listening builds dominance. Most men talk too much because they are insecure. They want to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to be validated. Strong men are comfortable being underestimated. They let others talk themselves into bad positions. They let others expose motives. They let others reveal weaknesses. Then they move strategically. That is Machiavellian awareness. Not cruelty, clarity. Understanding that power belongs to those who see patterns before others feel consequences. If you want wealth, master restraint. If you want influence, master observation. If you want freedom, master yourself. Most men never learn how to move in silence. They announce plans, they post goals, they share struggles, they broadcast intentions, and every time they do, they weaken their position. Attention feels good, but it costs leverage. The more people know about your next move, the more obstacles appear. Some will doubt you, some will compete with you, some will quietly work against you, not because you are wrong, but because success makes insecure people uncomfortable. Strategic men understand this. They build quietly, they study privately, they improve anonymously. They let results introduce them. Privacy is not secrecy, it is protection. It keeps your focus clean. It keeps your energy intact. It keeps your confidence internal instead of borrowed from applause. Most men depend on encouragement to continue. When praise disappears, so does their effort. Disciplined men depend on standards. Standards do not change based on mood. They do not disappear when nobody is watching. They do not weaken under pressure. Standards are internal law, and internal law creates external power. When you operate from standards instead of emotions, you become consistent. When you become consistent, you become reliable. When you become reliable, people trust you. When people trust you, they invest in you. Trust is slow money. It compounds quietly. It survives downturns. It outlasts trends. A man who protects his reputation protects his future. Every reckless post, every emotional outburst, every public argument subtracts from your credibility. And credibility is wealth. Protect it like capital, because once it is gone, no amount of talent can replace it. Most men underestimate how much their circle controls their ceiling. They think success is personal, individual, isolated. It is not. Your environment shapes your thinking. Your thinking shapes your decisions. Your decisions shape your income. Weak environments normalize excuses. They celebrate laziness. They reward complaining. They justify failure. Strong environments normalize discipline. They respect effort. They reward consistency. They expose weakness. That is why so many men stay stuck. They are loyal to places and people that keep them small. They confuse familiarity with destiny. They confuse history with loyalty. They stay around negativity because it feels safe. Growth feels lonely at first. Elevation feels uncomfortable. Progress separates you from old versions of yourself and old versions of others. That separation is necessary. Strategic men audit their environment regularly. Who am I listening to? Who am I learning from? Who am I competing with? Who am I being influenced by? Energy transfers, standards transfer, habits transfer. If you sit around undisciplined people long enough, you will become undisciplined. If you sit around focused people long enough, you will sharpen. That is not motivation. That is psychology. Machiavellian awareness teaches that proximity is power. Being close to information, close to opportunity, close to decision makers changes your trajectory. You do not need to know everyone. You need to know the right few. You do not need to be everywhere. You need to be in the right rooms. Strategic men position themselves where growth is unavoidable. They do not wait for permission. They prepare until they are undeniable. If you want more money, upgrade your environment. If you want more discipline, upgrade your circle. If you want more power, upgrade your standards. Most men never master patience. They rush everything. They rush decisions. They rush relationships. They rush investments. They rush success. And in their impatience, they destroy their future. Patience is not waiting without action. It is working without panic. It is building without noise. It is preparing without praise. Stoic discipline teaches that time favors the composed. Markets reward those who can endure volatility. Life rewards those who can delay gratification. Weak men want results now, money now, recognition now, comfort now. Strong men want systems, foundations, assets, leverage, longevity. They understand that slow money is strong money. Fast money is fragile. Anything built quickly can collapse quickly. Anything built carefully compounds. Strategic men play long games. They think in decades, not weekends. They think in generations, not seasons. While others chase trends, they build infrastructure. While others gamble, they invest. While others celebrate small wins, they reinforce foundations. Patience gives you perspective. Perspective gives you precision. Precision gives you power. When you are patient, you see traps before you step in them. You see fake opportunities before you chase them. You see weak partnerships before you commit. You cannot rush wisdom. You earn it through observation and experience. Every season of waiting is training. Every delay is instruction. Every setback is information. Men who understand this never feel behind. They feel prepared. Most men never learn how to manage their reputation. They think respect comes automatically with age, money, or position. It does not. Respect is built daily through behavior, through consistency, through restraint, through integrity. Every interaction is a deposit or a withdrawal. Every promise kept adds value. Every promise broken subtracts credibility. Every emotional outburst weakens authority. Every calm response strengthens it. Strategic men treat their name like capital. They protect it. They grow it. They never spend it recklessly. Because your reputation walks into rooms before you do, it negotiates for you before you speak. It opens doors before you knock. Men who destroy their reputation chasing attention end up invisible when opportunity arrives. Machiavellian awareness teaches that perception shapes reality. People do not respond to who you think you are. They respond to who you consistently show them you are. That image becomes your brand, and your brand becomes your leverage. This is why disciplined men avoid public drama. They avoid gossip. They avoid emotional debates. They avoid pointless conflicts. Every unnecessary battle costs influence. Power is conserved, not displayed. Strong men win quietly and let others talk about it later. If you want long-term wealth, build a reputation for stability. If you want long-term respect, build a reputation for reliability. If you want long-term power, build a reputation for discipline. Most men never learn how to think like owners. They think like employees, even when they work for themselves. They trade time for money, effort for approval, loyalty for security, and that mindset limits their ceiling. Owners think in systems, in assets, in scalability, in leverage, in risk management. They ask different questions. How does this grow without me? How does this protect me? How does this compound? How does this survive downturns? How does this create options? Employee-minded men ask how much they will be paid. Owner-minded men ask how much control they will have. Control is freedom. Control is security. Control is power. That is why strategic men focus on building equity. Equity in businesses, equity in skills, equity in relationships, equity in reputation. Everything valuable compounds. Everything neglected decays. Stoic discipline teaches responsibility. You are responsible for your finances, your education, your health, your network, your mindset. Blame produces nothing. Ownership produces leverage. A man who accepts full responsibility becomes dangerous because he stops waiting. He stops complaining. He stops hoping. He starts engineering. Engineering outcomes, engineering habits, engineering environments, engineering success. That is how wealth becomes predictable instead of accidental. Most men never understand how leverage actually works. They think leverage comes from money first, from status first, from titles first. In reality, leverage begins with information, with timing, with positioning, with optionality. A man with options cannot be pressured. A man with alternatives cannot be trapped. A man with patience cannot be rushed. That is real power. Most people live without options. They depend on one job, one client, one relationship, one income stream, one identity. That dependency makes them fragile, and fragile men get exploited. Strategic men diversify leverage. They build multiple skills, multiple networks, multiple income channels, multiple reputational anchors. They never let one failure collapse their entire structure. Stoic discipline teaches preparedness. Always assume change. Always assume volatility. Always assume disruption. Then build accordingly. When markets crash, prepared men reposition. When industries shift, informed men adapt. When alliances break, disciplined men reorganize. Panic belongs to the unprepared. Calm belongs to the strategic. Machiavellian awareness teaches that power is rarely announced. It is accumulated quietly. It is stored patiently. It is deployed selectively. Loud power attracts resistance. Silent power attracts opportunity. This is why strong men avoid bragging, avoid flexing, avoid premature celebration. Every public display invites competition. Every emotional victory lap invites sabotage. I move quietly. I let others underestimate. I let others think I am behind. Meanwhile, I am stacking leverage, studying structures, building buffers, creating exit strategies, planning contingencies. Wealth is not just about making money, it is about protecting optionality. Freedom comes from having choices when others have none. If you want power, build options. If you want security, build redundancy. If you want independence, build leverage. Most men never learn how to read people. They hear words, but they don't study behavior. They listen to promises, but they ignore patterns. They trust enthusiasm, but they ignore consistency. And that ignorance costs them money, time, and peace. Strategic men do the opposite. They observe first. They watch how people treat waiters, how they speak about former partners, how they behave when they lose, how they act when they gain power. Character is revealed in pressure, not comfort. A man who is reckless when he is emotional will be dangerous when he has money. A man who is dishonest when he is broke will be ruthless when he is rich. Machiavellian awareness teaches that alliances must be built on alignment, not emotion. Shared values, shared standards, shared discipline. Without that, partnerships become liabilities. Most men learn this too late. They mix business with friendship. They mix money with emotion. They ignore red flags because of history. Then they pay tuition through betrayal. I learned to evaluate people through actions, not intentions. Intentions are cheap. Behavior is expensive. Behavior reveals priorities. Behavior reveals discipline. Behavior reveals loyalty. That is why I take my time. I don't rush trust. I don't rush partnerships. I don't rush loyalty. I test consistency. I test patience. I test integrity. Weak men rush relationships because they fear being alone. Strong men wait because they respect their future. Every bad partner costs years. Every wrong alliance delays destiny. Choose carefully. Most men sabotage themselves financially through ego. They want to look rich before they are rich. They want applause before assets. They want recognition before stability. So they spend on image, on validation, on approval. And in doing so, they mortgage their future. Wealth is quiet. Poverty is loud. Rich men protect capital. Broke men display it. Strategic men reinvest. Emotional men celebrate prematurely. Stoic discipline teaches restraint, delay gratification, delay flexing, delay lifestyle upgrades, build foundation first, build buffers, build reserves, build assets, then enjoy, not before. Most people reverse the order. They consume first, then struggle. They celebrate first, then borrow. They show off first, then collapse. I never confuse income with wealth. Income is flow. Wealth is storage. Income can disappear. Wealth protects. That is why I focus on ownership, equity, assets, intellectual property, systems, things that work without my presence. Freedom is not having money today. Freedom is having money tomorrow without begging. If you want to be rich, learn to live below your means. If you want to be powerful, learn to invest above your emotions. Most men never master solitude. They are afraid to be alone with their thoughts. They need noise, entertainment, distractions, validation, constant stimulation. Silence makes them uncomfortable because it forces self-reflection. Strategic men embrace solitude. They think, they plan, they evaluate, they recalibrate, they review mistakes, they analyze patterns, they sharpen vision. Solitude is where empires are designed. Noise is where potential is wasted. Stoic philosophy teaches that external chaos is inevitable. Internal chaos is optional. I train my mind daily through reading, through reflection, through journaling, through study, through discipline. Mental strength is built like physical strength, through repetition, through resistance, through discomfort. A weak mind collapses under pressure. A trained mind adapts. Most men avoid mental training. They train their bodies. They neglect their thinking, then wonder why they make poor decisions. Your mind is your primary asset. Protect it, upgrade it, invest in it. Everything else follows. Most men never understand how long-term power is built. They think power is dominance, loudness, control, intimidation. That is temporary. Real power is influence, trust, stability, reliability. It is being the person others depend on when things are uncertain. It is being calm when others panic. It is being prepared when others scramble. It is being disciplined when others collapse. Over time, people gravitate toward that. Opportunities follow that. Capital follows that. Machiavellian strategy teaches that the strongest leaders rarely appear desperate for authority. Authority comes to them because they solve problems. They create structure. They provide security. They deliver results. I focus on becoming indispensable in knowledge, in execution, in reliability, in integrity. Replaceable men are controlled. Indispensable men are courted. Build yourself into a necessity. Most men never prepare for success. They prepare for survival. They plan how to pay bills, how to get through the month, how to avoid crisis. That is small thinking. Strategic men prepare for growth, for expansion, for responsibility, for leadership, for influence. They ask, if this works, am I ready? If money increases, am I disciplined? If attention comes, am I grounded? If power arrives, am I ethical? Success magnifies flaws. If you are undisciplined broke, you will be reckless rich. So I build character before capital, structure before scale, values before valuation. That is longevity. Listen to me now. Power is built in silence. Wealth is built in routine. Respect is built in restraint. Legacy is built in discipline. Every day you are choosing who you are becoming through habits, through reactions, through standards. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to manage your emotions. No one is coming to fund your vision. That is your responsibility. You are the architect, the general, the guardian. Move with strategy, speak with purpose, act with patience, protect your name, protect your energy, protect your standards. Let others be loud, you remain calm. Let others chase, you remain focused. Let others react, you remain disciplined. Because in the long run, silence builds empires. Discipline builds dynasties. Control builds kings. Respect builds legends. And legends never beg. They build. They endure. They dominate quietly. This is Daily Scrill Quotes by Scrill Hassan. Stay sharp, stay silent, stay powerful.